I shut it off, so just keep an eye out now, just in case.
Just 1 minute.
Right?
Look, it's still 6:59. There, 7.
And you were,
Okay, good evening and welcome to the Stow Select Board meeting for March 26th, 2024. Our first order of business is public comment. Take anything that is not on the agenda, please identify yourself. Debbie?
Debbie Woods, Great Road. I have a petition with 81 signatures, and that petition simply states to direct the Stow Select Board to bring forth to the next town meeting the revised Randall Library renovation project and present the updated design and construction estimates. Having respect for the passion on all sides, the Select Board decision, conversations I've had, and giving it a lot of thought, I see no value in submitting the petition to the Select Board tonight. Therefore, the 81 names will not be public record. If the Select Board decides there is positive value in making the 81 names part of the public record, please let me know and I'll be happy to attend the meeting as well as the discussion. At the last Select Board meeting, the town administrator shared that town council's opinion was that a citizen's petition could not be used to revoke or revote a town meeting or ballot decision that approved funding of a project. I appreciate town council's effort, but I am asking the Select Board for town council to provide in writing the statute, mass general law, and reasoning used to reach this opinion. Thanks, and I look forward to hearing from the Select Board.
All right, thank you. Mr. Ryan?
Tom Ryan, Great Road. Appreciate the chance to speak. And one of the things is I'd like, after attending the last meeting, I was starting to question the comments that I made. I appreciate the town administrator, Denise, for correcting the information that wasn't correct as far as the square footage of the revised project. I think that you should still take it back to town meeting, especially now that you understand that it is a 25% reduction. But even if you don't decide to do that, one of the things that you really should more strongly consider is revoking the additional $2.5 million. At the last meeting, everybody was told it's going to be an $8.5 million project. But right now, there's been a total of about $11 million allocated to it. Having been on a number of building committees over the years, if any contractors end up getting wind that you've got an $8.2 million project with a $2.5 million slush fund at the end of it, they'll spend it. I'm convinced of it. We've been told that the $2.5 million isn't needed right now. It's a very simple thing to rescind the vote of town meeting at the next town meeting. It'll save people about $100 a year, which, as a member of the Board of Assessors, I keep hearing people are getting a little cranky about their taxes. So I would really suggest that as a minimum, even if you don't want to take back the original project, which I'll say I will probably support if it does go back, at least take the $2.5 million off the table that we've been told isn't required. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Seeing no hands on Zoom, nobody in the room. Do we have board member comments this evening?
None from me.
All right. Let's move on to the town administrator's report.
Madam Chair, I'd like to defer my time until after the appointment this evening, if that would be okay.
Absolutely, thank you. So we will move to the appointment of Jason Rogers to the position of patrol officer through June 30th, 2025.
Hi, good evening. Thank you very much for having me in front of you. So, as the board knows, over the past few years, we've had a few people leave us for numerous reasons. Luke left us to go pursue his higher education and become a college professor. Troy left us to go pursue his hometown dream of becoming a Worcester police officer. We just had another resignation for someone going to the state police. So we are a little short-handed, but we've been starting this process for a while now, and we put out advertisements. And we've been trying to do anything to bring somebody in. And we were able to, actually Jason reached out to us and we were able to bring him into the hiring process. And I think, well, I don't know if you've been through one of our hires yet, but we actually do a combination between staff and residents for our hiring board. So we can get a perspective from everybody, and everybody gets a say on who our next patrol officer is. And so we had about 8 people that we were able to bring in and interview. And Jason actually topped the list for us, which was amazing and awesome, good. And he comes highly recommended by one of our existing patrol officers, Jeff. And so we put him through a second interview with us, Denise and Aaron and myself. Again, very impressive. And so I'm here to recommend him to be appointed as a full-time patrol officer. He comes with us with years of experience. He's done over 6 years full-time with the Holy Cross College. And he's fully certified with post, which means that he can hit the ground running for us, which is awesome. I know he's going on vacation, so the first day won't be until, if approved tonight, first day won't be until after that in April. So April 25th, we're looking for day 1. And then, so I'm really excited to recommend Jason for appointment as a patrol officer with the town of Stow.
Questions or
I don't
comments
have
from the
any
board?
questions.
Well, as a graduate of Holy Cross alumnus, I have to say, I do actually know the training process that they go through there now. Very different from when I went, and much more involved and follows the protocols that are set out for municipalities, and actually they've even taken on some of the state protocols in their training. So it is an excellent program for the training of the officers there.
It's also like he's required to do exactly what we all do as
Yeah.
full-time police officers. So even though he's coming from a campus, he has the same training. It's just a smaller little town as a campus. But there's a lot of great things, and actually I'm gonna steal what you said in your interview. Campus cops make great municipal cops, because why? We get to, they interact with individuals on a more personal basis. And so I think it's gonna be a really good fit for Stow.
You probably won't miss the hills.
Nobody told me when I started there was a mountain and there's a lot of stairs.
There are a million stairs.
Yes.
It's unbelievable.
Although all the old Jesuits that are in their 80s can probably run up those stairs quicker than you and I.
absolutely.
That's right.
Amazing.
Did you, I'm sorry, I interrupted.
That's quite all right. Jason, do you have anything to say about what drew you to Stow?
I've heard nothing but great things about the department and the town and the people. I'm very excited to be here, and one of the big things that drew me in was just the diversity of the town itself. You've got the national park, or the National Wildlife Refuge, you've got a couple airports, you've got just a whole bunch of things going on in such a small area. And I'm just really excited to hit the ground running and, interact and meet all the different citizens of Stow and, kind of integrate into the culture here.
Thank you. Yes.
So one of the things that has impressed me about the Stow Police Department is its interest in educating the people, educating all of us, and sort of being neighbors, as well as being, I think, forward-thinking in terms of policies and approaches to various issues. Have you obviously discussed those with the chief, and were you impressed with any of those, or did any of those surprise you, or anything like that?
Yeah, I was actually, one thing, coming from a college campus, one of the big things we do is always education and really try to hit home kind of why we do things the way we do them. But the chief was talking about the way that they handle people now that they interact with, and instead of just arresting everybody, they do kind of a, they do, yes, no, they do more of a restorative justice model now, which is actually quite fascinating, something that I like the idea of. I like being able to, get results for the people that might be a victim of something, even if it's a petty crime, and being able to have those voices heard from people. And I think it's a great model to use, and I hope that Stow and I, along with them, can really model that going forward for other towns in the area.
Thank you.
Anything else, Hector?
You ready for motion?
Yes.
All right, Madam Chair, I move to appoint Jason Rogers to the position of patrol officer through June 30th, 2025.
Second.
I'll have a roll call vote. Hector?
Aye.
Megan?
Aye.
JT?
Aye.
Ingeborg?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, that's unanimous. Congratulations.
Welcome to Stow. And thanks for bringing your family here and
Yes, and everyone.
yeah, and your little tiny nephew down there.
I know the board wants to get going, so if you guys, it's okay if you guys get.
Yeah, you don't have to sit there.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
Thank you
Thanks
for
for getting so
coming.
dressed up. I mean, wow.
I clean up well sometimes.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
See you around.
Pleasure to meet you guys, thank you.
Thank you. I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, okay.
I was like, you've got a long list tonight.
How about now?
I would love to.
Back to the town administrator's report.
A reminder that the last day to take out nomination papers for the annual election is this Wednesday, March 27th. The last day to return nomination papers is this Friday, March 29th at 5 p.m. A reminder that tomorrow night is the housing forum, either in person on the third floor of this building or via Zoom, to hear about the status of the housing production plan and to provide feedback on Stow's draft housing goals. On Monday, April 8th, the Randall Library and the Police Department are partnering for a discussion with the Do It for James Foundation at the Hale Middle School at 6 p.m. Timothy and Tamaya Woods' son committed suicide in 2022. Now they present to parents and children to encourage communication and warn others of cyberbullying. The talk will feature heavy topics, including suicide, coercion, and guns. And while this is intended for people of all ages and children are encouraged, parental discretion is advised. I think it's going to be a really powerful night. So Stow TV will be recording it for broadcast later on, but it's free to attend. There's no registration required. So we'd love to have folks there. I am thrilled to share that in the last 2 weeks, we have received our first 2 fully electric vehicles. The Facilities Department received their Ford E-Transit van, and the Police Department yesterday received their Ford Lightning pickup truck. The Lightning will serve as a police patrol vehicle, and as I mentioned, facilities, it will be a van for all facility needs. And you can see our newsletter coming out next Monday for pictures of both. And my last item for tonight is to remind folks that the survey and crowdsource map for the comprehensive plan are still available on our website, and all residents are encouraged to participate to help frame the next 10 years in Stow.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We now have an update from the Collings Foundation on their American Heritage Museum 2024 events.
And Hunter and Rob are both on.
Hello, Hunter and Rob. Welcome.
Good evening.
So, what you got?
So I think, I don't know if you want us to go over the events. You have that, Denise has a listing of all of them.
Yeah.
In essence, they're almost identical to last year's events, except for one. We have a tank demo weekend in May. We have the Father's Day event, which is antique cars in June. July is the one event that's different. So that's been a kind of a flex event over the years. We've had the Revolutionary War reenactment during that time. We have the Military History Through the Ages reenactment, and this year we're going to do a Pacific-themed reenactment, which is a reenactment with gunfire only, no pyrotechnics no cannons and so forth, as that is only for the World War II reenactment in October. Then we have our second tank demo weekend in August, as I recall, the aviation weekend in September, and October, the World War II reenactment, which is the one with the pyrotechnics.
And I think the only amendment we'd have to that, Denise, is the September event is pushed up one weekend to September 21st and 22nd.
Okay. Everything will remain the same but the date?
Yes, correct.
Any questions or comments from the board?
None from me.
Hector?
Noticed that a couple of the events coincide with when the EAA chapter at the Minuteman Airfield do Young Eagles events. I just wanted to make sure you were aware. They do them every second Saturday of the month, so if you're going in there for fuel, there's gonna be a lot of civilian traffic around there too.
Very good to know, thank you. We'll look and see how that impacts our schedule. We don't fly in there for fuel at all, and we only have a couple of events which will have any aviation activities, and and I'm not sure what weekend it falls on. I think it might be the second weekend in October with the military history one. We actually stage out of Crow Island, so it shouldn't have any impact at all.
I saw the July one seemed to have indicated aviation activity, but I'll also make sure that we're aware to fly west of the field and nowhere near Collins.
That would be wonderful, thank you. Is that July one, the second weekend as well? Do we coincide with the same weekend, or?
Yes, July 13th.
Okay, that's great to know, thank you very much.
Anything else from the board? Nope. Great, I'll take a motion.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the 2024 schedule of events for the American Heritage Museum as presented by the Collings Foundation, provided all public safety requirements are met and with the date changed.
So you don't necessarily
I don't need to say that, okay.
No.
Okay,
Second?
As presented.
as presented.
Thank you.
Second.
Got it. Roll call vote, all those in favor, Hector?
Aye.
Megan?
Bye.
JT?
Aye.
Ingeborg?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, that's unanimous.
Great.
Thank you, Hunter and Rob, for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope you have a great season.
Yeah, have a great
Thank
season.
you. Take care.
Next, we have a special event permit for Shakespeare in the Park, as it were. Performance of Midsummer Night's Dream, Saturday, May 4th, 2024, from 3 to 6 p.m. Sponsored by Stow TV and Friends of the Randall Library. Hi, John.
First off, it's not for 3 hours.
Okay.
It's not 3 to 6. Actually, I think, I don't know, I guess maybe on the permit I should have said when we needed to reserve the park. Probably from 1 to 5, or actually 1 to 6, as far as setup and cleanup goes. I imagine the performance will be more than 2 hours at the most.
Right.
That's a long, that'd be a long play.
It's,
1 to 6? No,
That's
so
great.
the motion will be the same, so tell me again, the performance itself is only 2 hours, you think?
Yes, that's what I think. I mean, we have, well,
We'll leave that part.
before the performance, we have 2 videos from the Neshoba drama. They did 2 different versions of the same play. One was, took place at a circus, another one took place in India. And those were both about an hour and a half. So,
So maybe it is
going by that,
No, but the amplified sound, so you're not planning to do anything else, it's just gonna be the setup and then the performance.
right?
So yeah, that should be fine, because the amplified sound is only be between 3 and 6.
Okay, so you're not gonna show the video? You are showing a video with the
No.
speaker? No.
No, I
Okay.
think he
They're
was
gonna
using
use
that as
speakers,
reference.
though.
Got it.
They will use a speaker.
Yes,
Yes,
but only for the
absolutely.
performance.
Yep. Got it.
The question is amplified sound, when would those hours be? And we right now have it from 3 to 6. So we just wanna confirm that works with your schedule.
Sure. It would most likely be stopped sooner, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments?
Do you wanna tell us a little bit about it?
Well.
Sorry.
Never read it? I'm
Yes.
joking, I'm
Or played in it, or?
Yes. Could you tell me a little bit about the play? No.
And I've actually seen the show version and I can't completely understand it, but there's a lot of, well, you know, it's Shakespeare, there's a lot going on and intrigue and
Yeah.
Drama,
yeah,
drama,
drama.
Yeah.
So I thought that would be great before town meeting.
I love that. Is it a local, it's like a, who's coming in to do
They're
it?
at, it's Shakespeare and Company, they're out of Lenox.
Oh, great.
So they're a professional group
Mm-hmm.
and I was talking with the board and we wanted to do something to get the Stow TV name out and to do something for the town.
Yeah.
So and I know Maynard has done things where we film, they've done concerts.
Yep.
And I was kind of looking for something along that lines, came across the Shakespeare group and thought that would be a lot of fun.
That'd be great.
So, and then Lisa Lavina, co-chair, thought it would be great to get the Friends of Randall involved as well.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be giving away, I guess, some smaller versions of the play before, so people can get that at the library and find out more about the story
Got it.
before. And like I said, we'll show on Stow TV the Tuna Shoba drama ones, so there's plenty of opportunities to figure out exactly what's happening before the play.
Great.
But, you know, it's a beautiful park, I thought, actually, the way it goes, it'd be a great place to sit and
Mm-hmm.
be nice if it could be a regular thing,
I think that's lovely.
see how it goes. This is the test.
It is.
Fantastic.
All right,
Ready for a motion?
I am.
All right, Madam Chair, I move to grant a permit to Stow TV and the Friends of Randall Library for a Shakespeare performance of A Midsummer's Night's Dream on Saturday, May 4th, 2024 at Town Center Park, or in case of rain at Stow Town Hall, pending receipt of all required documents. Amplified sound is permitted from 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. on May 4th for the performance.
Second,
All those in favor, roll call. Hector,
Aye.
JT,
aye.
Ingeborg,
Aye.
Megan.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, that's unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
See you in the park.
That'll be fun. See you in the park. Next, we have a donation of a TV monitor. This is for the Pompasiticate Community Center from Boy Scout Troop 1.
Yeah.
Gary, do you have?
We noticed that when we did the Pinewood Derby in there back in mid-January or so, that the monitor we were using to display the scores and the screens were, it had a stripe running down the middle of it. It's broken. And we don't know how it got broken or when it got broken, but something bumped into that screen. So fortuitously at the same time, we have one of our Scout fathers whose company is going through a reorganization, and they offered him all their monitors from like their office, and he got like 5 of them, so we have an extra.
That's great.
So that's the bottom line. Figured you could use one, so put it in the community center.
Nice.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion?
No? You ready for a motion?
Sure.
All right, Madam Chair, I move to accept the donation of a TV monitor for the Pompasiticate Community Center from Boy Scout Troop 1.
Second,
All those in favor, Megan,
Aye.
Hector,
Aye.
JT,
aye.
Ingeborg?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, that's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in to speak to that.
You getting hooked up?
Appreciate it.
Okay, Stow House of Pizza, we have an update and.
Yes. I don't believe anyone will be on,
That's fine.
but yes, so, the Planning Department included a memo. Stow House and their engineer have been much more responsive and have been making progress with their special permit. There are still a few lingering items. The planning board has asked for an requested that you consider an additional 3-month extension instead of extending the license through the year. I have spoken with the engineer for Stow House. He's confident that that should be enough time to get everything wrapped up. And so if the board chooses to follow just the 3 months, I think that would be fine on all sides.
Sense of the board, anybody a strong opinion whether to extend the license 3 months or through the end of the year?
Madam Chair,
Please.
I would just hope that we continue to support their business. And as if the engineer believes that the 3 months is adequate, I will support that. But I don't wanna take an action that could cause them to be compromised in their ability to run their business.
Yes, and I will say, I have reiterated that to the owner. I have told him that we all want them to continue and remain in business. We are all very supportive of their business. Unfortunately, they need to be in compliance with their special permit. It has gone on a while, and I do feel like this was the last resort. But they've now come to the table and are making progress. So I think, if they had reached out and said it will be a hindrance to only have a 3-month license or something like that, I would relay that. They're just pleased it's going to be extended. So whether it's extended the 3 months or the full year, again, I would suggest following the request from the planning board, as I do think it is momentum to have them continue with the progress that we're seeing on the special permit. And I think, again, if Stow House is not unhappy with that, then I think that's what we should proceed with.
Just like, what items are left, actually,
There's a matter of a fence. Their special permit requires a fence to be built, actually a very long and large fence. They do not want to put a fence up. I think it's based on the cost, but that's one of the last lingering issues is the fence.
And that's a privacy fence, I take it, not just any old fence.
Yes, I think it's 8 feet long,
And I
high,
think it's
and
because there was,
A screen.
just off the
there was
headlights.
screening
Yes, yes.
originally, yes.
Well, I know I do better with deadlines, so
3 months?
3 months.
Okay.
Ready for a
That's a
motion?
motion, okay. Madam Chair, I move to extend the common vitular license for Stow House of Pizza, 156 Great Road, through June 30th, 2024.
Second,
All those in favor, Hector,
Aye.
JT,
aye.
Ingeborg,
Aye.
Megan.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, that's unanimous.
Okay.
Okay. Back to you, chief.
So we're gonna start with the military one, I think that's an easy one.
Sure.
Okay, so, I think I've been in front of the board a lot for the policies and procedures. One of the things that we found that we were lacking was a military activation and reintegration policy. Especially when we have somebody who is on military leave, who is returning. And we needed to, put it in writing what we're gonna do, what we expect from them, and what they can expect from us when they're away. Like, they're not gonna miss out on any promotional opportunities. We're gonna make sure when they come back, they still have a license. They still have all the training that we need, and all the minimum requirements are still met. So this is what just puts it in writing, what we're gonna do, what we expect, and what they can expect from us.
Great.
So I think it's, any questions?
Nope. Yep.
It's the easy one.
Well done. Yeah.
Alright, you want a motion on that one, just to move it on? Okay, so Madam Chair, I move to approve the addition of policy 6.12, military activation and reintegration as presented at this meeting for the Stow Police Department.
Second,
All those in favor, Hector,
Aye.
Megan,
Aye.
Ingeborg,
Aye.
JT.
aye.
Chair votes aye, that's unanimous.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Kind of irrelevant, but I just wanted to know, so if the person is on active duty and they're military police or something like that, does any of the training they receive from the military count towards credit for Massachusetts police?
No, because, so the MPTC actually sets the, what we have to learn for in-service every year. So, the minimum is 40 hours of what they put in place, but officers are, you know, I'm a strong believer in training, so officers can go to all the training that they, you know, are looking to go to, which could benefit the department and themselves. So officers go to a lot more than just the 40 hours that's required, so.
Okay, thanks.
But it's a benefit, because we can, you know, some of their training,
Right.
they can bring back to us, which is good.
Yep.
Great, a new policy.
New policy, yes. Good evening. Keith, can you share his screen? So. Nope, that's my, let's make Jason a full-time officer. Wrong, okay. So I wanna thank everybody, for letting me come again and approach, the board for an addition of a new policy and camera installation. So, Ingeborg, I like what you said earlier about like me trying to be a good community neighbor. And I really am trying to do that while doing my job too. So it's a hard balance of being a good neighbor and being a good police officer. So I'm trying to be respectful of both. So I wanted to give more tools to the officer. And one of the tools is a plate reader and a vehicle, and it also grabs vehicle descriptions. And through this technology that Flock offers, we're able to do this. And there are some benefits and there's some concerns that I've heard. And I want to be transparent with the board and transparent with the town. So I put the policy together. I used a couple other policies from around the country and picked what's best, because that's sometimes, you know, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, but I want to make sure it's ours. And I think ours is very unique, the end product is. But I also wanted to make sure that our residents knew. So I did reach out to a couple stakeholders and say, what do you guys think as well too? And we had good feedback back and forth. So the ability of these cameras is twofold. One is to set alerts for the officers to get alerts on certain vehicles, not individuals, on the kind of individuals, I'll get there. But set alerts if we're looking for a certain vehicle and we get alerts that this vehicle has gone through. The other part is historical pictures as well too. And there's a value in both. So originally, and as it still stands, we were able to get these, nothing's been installed, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say get.
You're being so careful. You're being very careful.
I'm being, I wanna be honest,
I
and
know.
we have not put these up, and this is why we're here, is to talk about it.
Yeah.
But the money for these came from a school safety grant, because that's how we were able to get these. Because if someone commits a crime, and this is the historical part of it, if someone commits a crime at a certain location, and we don't know where they went, but we know their vehicle description, we can be able to put that into the system, and we'll be able to get, if they travel within the parameters of these cameras, we'll be able to get that information. The other part is the part that's not historical, is the immediate alerts. And we can set those up how we want to as a town through policy. And our policy is only to set it up for wanted felony individuals. Now, it's not I'm looking for Ingeborg. I'm looking for Ingeborg's car. So if your car goes by and JT's driving, you might get, if I don't know who's driving, you're gonna get stopped, but you be sent on your way. That's like for the alert part of it. And again, for the historical part of it, it's gonna be for our investigations. Now there's concerns on, let's talk about some of the concerns on the alert. If someone from another community or another state, let's say has a warrant for them, and I'm gonna say, for sake of argument, Texas, and they have a murder warrant out for them. And that department in Texas says we have this warrant for this individual, and they happen to drive through Stow. We would get an alert that that vehicle that's associated with that person is in Stow. I still have to verify that that's the actual vehicle. I still have to make eyes-on contact with that plate, with that vehicle. And then once I stop that vehicle, and if I identify that that's the person they're looking for, I have to turn around and say, are you coming up to get this person? Because if they're not coming up to get this person, or want to come up or start that process, I have no authority to arrest that person at all, and I have to let them go. And I use murder as an extreme, but like any felony, they have to give me that verification. I still, even if they say they're coming up, I don't arrest for that crime that they've done. I have to, because they haven't committed a crime in Massachusetts. The only crime, the only crime that they have committed is being a fugitive from justice. So now I arrest that person. Now they're entitled to bail again. And so they can be released on bail. And if they're not, and then they have to go in front of the judge here in Massachusetts. And then they can have a trial here in Massachusetts to see if they even are sent back to Texas at all. So it is a long process for us to make a connection from another state. And I can tell you, it is very, I think I've only made one or two arrests in 25 years for fugitive from justice. It doesn't happen. But with those same alerts, they have all these alert files. It's the National Crime Information Center, and CIC has many different alerts. They have vehicle, they have deported felon, immigration, they have wanted person, stolen plates. Am I missing some?
Amber?
What?
Amber? Is
So
different?
that's a different system.
Okay.
So, but with this system that we're looking at, we won't be looking at stolen vehicles, stolen plates. It'll only be for the wanted, felony wanted person. We won't be looking for immigration. We won't be looking for, what was the other one I just mentioned? I don't know, I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry.
It's in the policy.
But it's in the policy. So it's only be for that wanted person that's associated with the vehicle. Talking about Amber Alert, it's not just Amber Alerts too. It would actually be Silver Alerts as well too, because it's not just the children, it's the older crowd of individuals that sometimes, we have to go look for. So it wouldn't be just that person, the younger kids. We think of broader, we think of more of our community. So that's the alerts side of things. Now, we can also set it up for if I am looking, or my staff is looking for a certain individual that committed a crime, and they drive through Stow, we can get an alert on that individual as well, specifically for that one individual. Now, going on to the historical, the system has the ability to have a number of days that the pictures are stored. Looking through research, talking to other communities, I felt that 15 days was long enough. It doesn't take video, it can only take snapshots of cars, pictures. After 15 days, it's deleted. That information's gone. So if you come to me and say, my neighbor's house was broken into and I saw a black Cadillac 16 days ago, you don't get that information at all. The only way my policy allows the officers to even look at it or even search the system is if they have to have a criminal investigation going associated with a case number. It can't be just like, I'm gonna look to see every time, and I'm just gonna take this from these guys. Every time the chief's car comes in and out of town, I'm gonna see what he's doing and get an alert on that. We're not gonna allow that. The other part of it too is if we can only access it for criminal investigations, that means that under FOIA request, that information is protected because we don't release information on open criminal investigations. Which also means that I own the information, by the way. Or sorry, it's Town of Stow. When I say I, but it's Town of Stow. we own that. That information is not theirs, the way we write the contract and the rules. That's our information. Top of that, and Jonathan's gonna get into more technical stuff, so, but there is a robust auditing system as well too. So, a concern that I heard is that what if another community writes a search warrant and accesses my data? Well, I can tell you from doing a lot of search warrants, just like Twitter, if I do a search warrant on Twitter, they tell the user, the police, the government is doing a search warrant on your account. Sorry, X, it's not Twitter anymore. With the system, we can set it up that I get notified, or my staff gets notified, that an outside individual is actually accessing your data. And if that are trying to, they get notified as well, and their contract is with us. And so any subpoena that gets issued to them, saying, we don't want you to go through the town of Stow, gets issued to them, they still have to come to us, and then we fight it, and why do we want this? Another question that was asked, so what happens to the data on somebody who is involved in a crime? So just like any piece of evidence, the evidence is not going to be stored with Flock. We will download that information, and we will take that information and put it to our record management system, and it'll be logged in as evidence. So that piece of evidence will continue based on how long we keep that case file, and that's all set by the Secretary of State. We don't, we tend to keep things longer than we need to in Stow. So I have files right now from back to 1950. So, but if anyone wants to appeal something, we always want to make sure we don't have spoilization. We want to make sure that the fact is that they have all the evidence that we have. And so if there ever is an appeal 3, 5, 10 years later, that we still have that. Because after 15 days, it's off their system, unless we mark it and save it, correct? But I'm not using them as a record management system. Evidence stays with us, not a third-party vendor. And again, written into the policy was, again, I know immigration is a big hot topic. I can tell you that if, another question that we had was, if I had an order from a federal agency, or let's say a federal agency, directing me to do something, I don't work for them. I don't work for the federal government, I work for you guys, I work for the town of Stow. I drive my authority under Massachusetts law. I don't have the authority to enforce federal law. I can't enforce it. It has to be Mass General law. So those are some of the concerns I've heard, and I'm gonna turn it over, unless you have questions for me first.
I have one. The 15 days. And I understand why you're doing it, and I appreciate why you're doing it, but the question comes up, what if there's a cold case file like you're doing right now?
Yep.
Had there been some form of record keeping, would that be helpful? And so, I know that's not an easy answer, how will you know when a cold case is raised?
So, you're right, and would it have been absolutely amazing 40 years ago to have this in place and know what was going on? Absolutely would. But I have to, I started, I have to have that balance. I have to have that balance between doing, keeping people's privacy at one point and also protecting people at the same time. It's that balance. So for me, 15 days I think is a reasonable time. And yeah, sometimes we lose things. And there are cameras throughout Stow right now. I mean, I can tell you, between here and the PD, there are 4 places that have cameras on the outside of them already.
All the Ring cameras now.
All the Ring cameras, all security cameras, all the cameras at the PD. There are other, I'm not gonna, tell you where they all are. I mean, I'll just say that the PD, but
I know
we're
where
on
one
camera.
of them is.
So we're all on camera anywhere. But the concern is the fact that we can go back and we can search these. That's, and we can look very specifically at what we're doing, what we're looking for. So that's the thing. The other part too is, and I'm trying not to make this meeting go on too long, is if there was an emergency, like in another community too, we could actually use that to facilitate things. We recently had someone in Hudson, a Stow resident, get arrested for, the kidnapping. If they left and Hudson called us and said, hey, all we have is this vehicle, can you tell us if it came through your town? Absolutely, we would assist them with something like that. Time is of the essence when it comes down to, keeping people safe sometimes. So we would use it for that. But again, it's logged. It would be an audit. When we look back and say, when did you use it? How did you use it? Absolutely, this is how we used it. This is why we used it. So that's one part. And I know you're gonna talk about later about the public facing side of what we're gonna be doing too. Because we're not only gonna have our audit, but you'll be able to see the stats, what we do, our policy. You'll be able to see everything, and they'll be posted on a public facing website as well too. Not the content of what we're actually doing, like, I can't tell you we're investigating, JT and we're following his car, but
what you do, buddy.
you would be able to see, like, oh, we've used it, it's when, it's been a few, this is how many cars have gone by this camera, this is how many hits, this is how many times we've used it, and we would get that, that's gonna be public side facing too.
Can I just ask one quick question? Can I ask? I had written a note down that you said that you're only gonna allow the officers to use it if they've opened a criminal investigation within this town. If there's an open criminal investigation on someone in another town and they're requesting information from us,
So to share.
would you consider that the same, or that would be?
Yeah.
So, as the chief mentioned, this works best.
I'm sorry, you should really introduce yourself.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah, absolutely. My name is Jonathan Paz. I'm a government affairs manager here with Flock Safety.
Okay.
So as the chief mentioned, this works best when there's some degree of regionalization, because it's good to kind of partner with these other, these agencies in different jurisdictions. But that's normally at a regional basis, like within Massachusetts, right? So he would have to go out of his way to have an MOU with these other agencies to say, hey, we're gonna be willing to share each other's data. And that will also be audited. He will also have access to know if and when they actually pull that data from your system. And that's where we have had success stories, because sometimes it's like something coming out of Boston, right? And Boston puts out an alert. If you're part of this system, you would be part of 65 other towns and cities in Massachusetts who already work with us, if that helps.
Okay.
Is this system linked with the state police at all?
Yeah, so we do have a partnership, but it's, again, you have to go out of your way to say, hey, we want to be embedded in the system. So it's up to your own policy to say, we want to be integrated within this broader system. It is an option.
So you wanna give your presentation?
Yeah, I'm happy to present too.
Our guy on Zoom, our other board member on Zoom has a question. Hector.
If I understand correctly, my chief, you said that all the license plates captured are held for 15 days in the database, is that correct?
That is the agreement that I would stipulate, yes, 15 days.
And if the license plate is part of a criminal investigation, it couldn't be released for a FOIA, what about the license plates that aren't part of criminal investigations?
Then I would be violating your policy saying that if I gave that information out.
Okay.
I don't think you want me doing that, so.
No, definitely not. Just wanted to make sure that was in the policy.
I'm happy to present if that helps. It's hard to follow the chief here. I think he covered a lot of what I would have said in a normal presentation, but I'm happy to be brief, but I'll pepper in some good information along the way. So, Flock Safety, what's our mission? We want to eliminate crime and shape a safer future together. We were actually founded in 2017 when our founder was a victim of a burglary, and he, worked with his neighborhood. They all had these Ring doorbells, and they brought all this really good information to their local law enforcement agency. And even then, that wasn't enough for them to actually find some resolution. So it was in a conversation that they said, the police said, we need a real license plate to be able to track this information down. So our founder, he did some research and realized that LPR technology, license plate reading technology, has been around for over 30 years, 3 decades, but it's very cost prohibitive. The market itself, it's just very expensive for like a housing association, never mind a town or city, to be able to afford. So he came up with a more cost-effective, but the real innovation here is our approach. We really believe in innovative technology with strong ethics. We don't want to be behind future regulations that happens along the way as technology emerges and evolves. We want to make sure that we are actually working hand in hand with communities to keep the community safe. So that's why we have nice cameras that are actually solar powered, excuse me. But we actually make sure that we're a force multiplier for some of these towns and cities, because the reality today has changed, right? There's limited resources when it comes to law enforcement, and we want to make sure that this technology is used in a way that actually allows law enforcement to do their job, to have the right objective data to actually solve a case. And we want to make sure we engage our communities and we grow together. That's why they have folks like me. We actually have a full-time team to make sure that our communities are aware, they know who we are, we're people, and it's not some other type of thing. There's no 8-ball to hide. We want to make sure that this technology is transparent and ethical as possible. So how does our technology work? We're really talking about 2 things. If there's a slide here that's very important, it's this one. We're talking about cameras that take a picture of the back of a car, and it really captures 2 things: the license plate number and the vehicle fingerprint. That's what we call the fingerprint of the vehicle. It's just basically the color, the make, if there's maybe some damage to it, right? Like, that's helpful information for us to know. And we use machine learning technology to make sure that you actually have a searchable system. Not AI, machine learning. Very big difference there. But the whole point is that we provide an infrastructure-free 24/7 coverage and provide real-time alerts. As the chief mentioned, you could actually customize the alerts that you want, NCIC and NMEC. But what I want to just make sure folks know again is that this is not facial recognition. We're not looking at people. It's not traffic enforcement. I just want to make sure that this is really this is really about providing indiscriminate evidence to an investigation. So there is a proactive approach, right? You get those alerts in case you do have someone with a felony warrant, as the chief mentioned, and that's one way to be proactive, right? And it's also investigative, where you're able to tap into the system. In your policy, it'll be 15 days. So if something happened, you can search into the system and you'll see whoever passed by the camera in the past 15 days. And it's a deterrent, because people know that you're now protected by Flock in your community. So we want to make sure we're mitigating risk for for privacy, and making sure that there's again an element of. So in this presentation, I put 30 days. That's typically what we recommend. I should have amended that. In here, it's 15 days. And again, we have an important audit feature, making sure that it's anytime you look into it, you have a case number associated with it, and if you don't, it's a violation of policy. And I want to make this point really clear: your data is secure with an AWS cloud. It's kind of like the same cloud the FBI uses. It's end-to-end encrypted, and we are SOC 2 compliant. We went out of our way to be compliant there, because again, trust is important, right? And we want to provide the best technology possible. So again, what's important is it's a short retention period, and we're taking the human bias out of solving crime. And I want to mention this quick part about our transparency portal, which we highly recommend for you guys to have. This is what it looks like for Vallejo, California. This is a website you could actually have next to your town website, and it shows you exactly what this is being used for and not being able to use, and who actually taps into your system. So this transparency portal is for the public, so then people know exactly what is being done here. So this is just one example, but if you look at the paragraph here, you see the paragraph on the second side, that actually shows all the other police departments that this particular city is working with. So if you wanted to have these arrangements, these agreements with other towns, you would actually be able to say, hey, we work with the areas around us, and this is how this works. So transparency to us is of the utmost importance, because again, we want to protect privacy at every cost. And folks wanted to know where in town these would be placed. These are the 3 locations that the
So,
chief has asked for.
I'll talk about that. So let's talk about the one where it says Villages of Stow, the red dot there. That's actually on the eastbound side before Hudson Road. If you go, I think it's a yellow house, but there is, the sidewalk goes around a telephone pole and there is an area of grass right near 117. I've spoken to the homeowner, they don't have an issue with it. And it would face the eastbound traffic. So cars coming out of Hudson Road, traveling east, those are the ones, that's where that one would be picked up. The other one would be on Common Road, 117 again, just on the, just west of Common at Great Road. And so it'd be facing the westbound, so cars going into the lights. And then the other one would be up on West Acton Road for, right at the edge of the property, for the wildlife area, like in the parking lot actually, and it would be getting cars coming from Acton into Stow. And it again, it picks up the back of the car.
Yeah, so I did want to just share a couple case studies, success stories. I wanted to talk about your neighbors in Rhode Island. Actually, before I go into that, here are all the locations we're at in Massachusetts. I highlighted some of the areas I thought maybe would be of interest, but this, I think, over 65 and counting towns and cities that we work with, and then we have partners in Rhode Island and Connecticut. So this is, I think, a really, snapshot, important snapshot, and then I wanted to share a little bit about Woonsocket, Rhode Island, where in 1 year, the police department was able to arrest over 40 suspects, recover 24 stolen vehicles, and get some illegal narcotics off the streets. And then you have West Hartford, where LPR was used in 50 successes within the first 6 months. And they were able to make sure that, where there was catalytic converter thefts, they were able to identify and retrieve multiple stolen vehicles, and even located a missing and endangered teenager along the way.
So the catalytic converters, we fell victim to that here in Stow. Last summer, one night, Troy ended up getting into a chase with a car out of, I believe it was Medford or Methuen, one of those two. The only reason we know that is because in their infinite wisdom, they went up Hartley Road and found a big giant school in front of them, and then they couldn't come, when they came back the other way, there was a cruiser. They went up and over the sidewalk, and they ended up, chasing suit. They ended up breaking it off because it got too dangerous. But he was able to grab the plate. That was a stolen vehicle as well too. Video investigation was able to, we were able to identify who the individuals were, coordinating with the other city. So, but again, it would have been just something like, if it was a black, it was I think like Black Mazda or something like that. So we would have been able to have that information if they didn't go up Hartley Road and turn around, because they couldn't go any further.
Wonderful, and here's a quick quote, but I wanted to just share this last story because I think this is really paints a better picture. So there was an actual in Chamblee, Georgia, the state that we were founded. There was actually a stranger on stranger kidnapping. Very, very rare for that to happen. You see the lady there. She's a mom. They actually she had her kid in the car and she went inside. She went inside and someone actually stole the car with her kid on it. So by 12:33 o'clock, an Amber Alert was issued, and actually the officer who was trained to be able to use our flock system was away on vacation, and they called him and they said, we really need your help right now. So he pulled over, he went in his car and accessed the system and helped provide the alert. So then the search was conducted by Flock. It was a regional system that was able to identify the car, and the way that they were actually able to identify the car was because she said, "Hey, it's this. This is the color of the car. This is the type, and I saw that one of the wheels, one of the rims, was different from the others. That was all the information they had, and they typed that into the system, and by 2:30, they were able to locate the vehicle that she identified. And by 5 o'clock, they made the stop. And by 6 o'clock, the baby was reunited with her mom. And again, this is like one town it starts in one town, and they find the suspect, and apprehend the suspect in a town 40 minutes away. So there is strength, and this is a force multiplier. There is strength in this regional network, and this is the type of impact we can make if we work together, I think. So I am more than happy to answer any questions. I think the chief was very expansive, but I try to be more succinct. But thank you again for having us.
Questions from the board? Heather? Hector?
Number of questions. Chief, when you were talking about that case from Texas, you said that you would have to stop the person, have eyes on the plate, verify the plate, verify the person, and verify that the state of Texas was willing to come and get them. What if they're on the run because they were coming to Massachusetts for an abortion?
But so.
Could I jump in there? So a felony warrant is not what the state of Texas be able to issue in the system. A felony is a felony. It's a federal crime. So that's not an applicable situation. It's not an applicable scenario.
It's only for federal crimes, it's not for state crimes.
Well, so you have to.
NCIC specifically, yes. So those alerts that you get are, So I want to just address this specifically. You don't have to partner with anyone in the state of Texas. Anyone in the state of Texas wouldn't have access to your system. I really want to make sure that's clear. I think all of these hypotheticals, you would have to go out of your way to have an MOU with a different agency.
If they entered it in, if they entered it into the system, so how it works is our warrants are not automatically entered in to the national system. We have to go through criteria to enter it in. It has to be at the level of a felony. But we can enter it in for officer safety for no extradition. And if somebody put in, if we put in a plate with a vehicle that's associated with someone who has a warrant out of that, and it comes back and it says no extradition, right in the alert, then we don't even contact that department. We don't even put in that confirmation request. Even because the hit is not even probable cause, it's actually the confirmation of, it's a confirmation that they'll come and get the person. That establishes our probable cause. So otherwise, they let them go. If they're doing it for investigation and not for an actual criminal charge that they've issued a warrant for, and if it's not a felony warrant, then NCI will kick it out. FBI will kick that out anyway. So I can't put in that I'm looking for investigative purposes for a vehicle in NCIC without a warrant.
Okay.
Signed off by a judge.
And I heard that you said you don't work for the federal government, so whatever they request you don't have to follow. Does the federal government have the authority to commandeer this if they have a warrant or something?
So like I explained at the beginning, if I was served with a subpoena or a search warrant, then we'd have to have our legal team look at it and say, what are we doing here? Again, they would serve it not on me, but they would serve it on the company, and then we'd have to look at it.
If I can just jump in, contractually, and this is would be our contract with you, you own the data. So if you're served with a subpoena, we can delay whatever, we can actually give you time so then you can get your legal team and fight for your rights of your data. But I will remind the select board member that 15-day retention period still applies.
And I have one final question if I can.
Sure.
You said that the description you gave of that child that was kidnapped, a license plate wasn't even provided. It was identifying marks on the vehicle, including bumper stickers. So could certain bumper stickers be looked for?
No, so it wasn't a bumper sticker. So when I mentioned you take a snapshot, the back of a car, right? It's the license plate and the vehicle fingerprint, which includes physical features of the car. The only thing you can search for in that search system is car related. You can only look for car features, and that helped in that particular case. And it was the back of it was actually the wheel in the back that was actually helpful in the case. It wasn't a bumper sticker. You can't search people's faces, any PII, personal identifiable information. That's not what the system is for. The system's about cars.
So the stickers that people put on their bumpers aren't considered part of the vehicle fingerprint?
I mean, physical descriptions, right? But it's not.
So if I get a description, Hector, and it's a red Honda and it has a sticker on the back that, whatever, it says "Go Stow Police," then I look for the red Honda in the system and it'll pull all the red Hondas that have gone by the camera between 1 and 2 o'clock on whatever day. And then physically I have to investigate and look at all those red Hondas that have gone by. And I'll be like, oh, this one matches now. Because I have that information as a person, as a law enforcement officer that's doing an investigation. And now I've matched up the description of that individual, that third party that's given that description, that I can look at and go, okay, this is what they said. I'm confirming that. I'm confirming, there it is. Now I get the plate number. Now I can run the plate and go that way. So I'm not searching the actual.
Looking for specific car identifying stuff, you're gonna capture all those particular cars and then physically look for them.
Yeah,
I'd have to physically look at each of those.
There's not a search feature for stickers.
Madam Chair, you have another representative from the company on, if I can allow him to speak.
Yes, please, sure.
Oh, I think that's other Hector.
Another Hector, no relation to the board member. Nice to meet you all, Director of Local Government Affairs. I just wanted to make sure to answer his question on the bumper stickers, because I know that was on the presentation. There's a filter that's yes or no, but I think the spirit of the question is, hey, could you potentially be looking for specific political speech, etc.? That's not a filter. It's yes, somebody reports, like in the case that Jonathan mentioned, there is a specific sticker, etc. That would help them filter that, but not for any writing or anything specific to a sticker. I just want to make sure to clarify that.
That's great, thank you. Yeah. So, Mr. Constanzos, any further questions?
No, that's all I have.
Anybody else?
I do.
Okay. Go.
I have a follow-up to Hector's question actually on a subpoena issued to you for data by the federal government. You say, it's not my data. You can't ask me for it, you have to ask the town of Stow. Is that true? And then the town of Stow has the right to our own attorney's interpretation of that subpoena. That's correct?
Yes.
So I wanted to, maybe I didn't make this clear.
I think Hector wants to respond, your Hector wants to respond.
If I could jump in and then we'll see if Hector wants to add on. But it's a subscription service. So we own the cameras, you guys own the data.
Okay.
We maintain the cameras for you, you own the data. We don't sell the data,
So no one can twist your arm.
we don't have a third party, no.
All goes through the chief.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to add to that, so the way it would work if there were to be a subpoena against your data, right, which we're holding for you, we contractually would have to give you notice so that you can go through the judicial process to either, try to protect that data and not share it if necessary.
Okay, thank you, that's all I have.
He was supposed to fly out and be here with us.
There's also, we would, we're looking at the bad things too, right? Like the stuff that goes against our policy.
Yeah.
And we would, again, I'm not gonna violate our own policy,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's just, I think Hector asked the other Hector, our Hector, asked a lot of.
Sorry to make it confusing.
No, that's okay.
not.
Asked some, I thought, really good questions, so I appreciate that we were able to vet those.
And Madam Chair, Rebecca's here, I don't know if she wants to ask any more questions.
No,
She-
Hector asked the questions that I was
Okay.
here to ask, so he's covered what I was concerned about.
She was one of the
Oh, good.
area stakeholders that I reached out to from one of the churches, so
Great.
I just wanted to make sure you were heard.
Thank you.
Can I just ask some clarifying questions? The locations of the cameras.
Mhm.
So the intersection of 117 and Hudson Road.
Just east of it.
But you said facing east, so a car could come down Hudson and take a right onto 117?
Yeah.
And so it wouldn't get the cars leaving town, it would get the cars sort of staying in town?
Correct.
And then on West Acton Road, which direction is it?
Coming in from Acton,
So coming into the town?
Yep.
And then in the town center,
correct.
coming in or
Coming
going?
into towards the lights.
So all three cameras are coming in
Yep.
to this community, okay. Thank you.
I'm imagining that whatever financial implications this has, that you Denise and the chief have discussed it on your we're here because it's not a bad ask, as it were.
There should be none for me.
So,
Oh, that's right, there's a grant.
yeah, so
Yeah.
this is being paid for by a grant. And
That's
I'm here
awesome.
for one, the policy, because I wanted to make sure that everybody knew what we would do, how we would use this technology.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. The other thing is, putting it up on town property, you guys are in control of that, so I wanted to make sure I had your blessing. I just don't wanna throw something out,
Yep.
without saying, hey, this is what it is, and have you guys know about it, because I think that's important.
So will there be any identifying feature on the cameras themselves so that if somebody sees the camera and they're like, what's that? That they know that it's, for this purpose or?
What's it saying?
No, I mean, it'll be like a solar powered camera. I think it was like the first slide it had it. But we tend to, I think it's 14 feet, it tends to be pretty high up. It's like we need it's like just enough that we can look at the cars, but also high enough that we can look at the cars, but low enough that you can still have access to sunlight.
But it's also high enough you're not actually looking at people so much, right?
Yeah, right.
It so happens.
It's really about the back of cars.
Yeah, that answers
ask
my
one more?
question. Yep, go ahead, Hector.
This is the techno geek side of me. So the cameras, again, let's say the one east of Hudson Road is pointed east, it's capturing the tail end of cars headed east. What stops it from capturing the data for the cars headed west? Or even their license plate?
So I can jump in here, other Hector. We provide a mask to the cameras, right? So our installation technicians will go put up the camera, focus it on the road. The machine learning itself has been trained to look at the back of vehicles. So a Honda versus a Toyota looks different in the back, right? The tail lights are different, etc. So that's how they place the cameras, so that it's only capturing that in its field of vision.
Okay, thanks.
My curiosity is satisfied.
I'm good.
I'm fine.
All right, you ready for a motion?
Yes, please.
All right. Madam Chair, I move to approve the addition of policy 9.07 ALPRS, automatic license plate readers, and camera installation as presented at this meeting for the Stow Police Department.
Second.
All those in favor, Mr. Constanzos,
Aye.
Mr. Toole,
Aye.
Ms. Hickman Clark,
Aye.
Ms. Birch McMichael.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. That's unanimous.
We went
Thank
from
you.
Mike.
Thank you for taking all the time to.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you all.
Thanks for answering
Thanks
the
for the
questions too.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Hector.
Brother Hector.
Thank
Thank you very much. Again, I wanted to make sure that I put everything out there and that people know and everybody knows.
It's great.
Yeah,
No, it's
yeah,
great.
absolutely.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Really important.
Yes, we will.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.
We went from first names to last names.
Well, I did that
All
partly
over the
because I
place.
went into, I know, well, keep you on your toes.
Yes, right.
I think it's because I switched to Hector's last name to
Oh, I see.
Oh, well,
Oh,
that
I
makes
see.
sense. That makes sense.
I was like, my brain did it, so here we are.
So now we're gonna talk for an hour.
No.
So,
No, no
given-
meeting in a box.
given, yeah,
Sorry.
Well, there may be some easier exercises if you wanted to.
there are actually,
We already did a meeting in a box.
okay.
I'm sorry.
One data point, thank you.
With you.
That's great. Oh, so maybe Hector will run it, just kidding. So, just sense of the group, are you willing to, did you look this over, and is there anything that you think would be valuable at this time so Hector's actually the select board representative to the comprehensive plan committee, and maybe I should give him the floor to run. I see his face. So my goal,
ceremony, I mean.
okay, my goal is for you guys to be aware of the tool that the committee is deploying in order to gather data. And so by doing an exercise, you would be more familiar with it perhaps. Maybe you're good at imagining things and you just having read it. I would be delighted if you're being exposed to it would mean that possibly you could see doing this with friends, family, neighbors, associates, somebody. Perhaps you could take the meeting in the box and just do it yourself. And if you think that you might want to do that, then we can get out early. No, no coercion.
Can I say one thing about this?
Absolutely.
I talked to you before the meeting. I wasn't able to attend this presentation, but I did read through all of this, and I was really fascinated by a lot of the talk on housing and parcel sizes and where that's rooted in. And I said to Courtney, like, I think these are a lot of things that like I've known about, but it is one thing to like know about it, and then it's another thing to read it in a comprehensive plan, or not in the comprehensive plan, but to read it in this presentation, because I think that's something that people don't really think about. And so it's, what can we think about as a community? We've got these 1.5 acre parcel sizes now, like, do we need to have those? Can we look at how to zone things to allow for smaller homes, to allow for those things? And I think those are really interesting conversations to be had. And I mean, not to go on and on, but I'm proud to be in a community that's willing to start having those conversations. I feel like it would be really easy to just be like, this is our community and this is how it is and we're just gonna do whatever. But to actually be saying that out loud, like, we want to be an inclusive community, and it's one thing to be inclusive in certain ways, but it's another thing to look at housing, which is such an important issue. So I was really pleased with reading this and really looking at some of the real challenges that we face as a town and what we can do to start thinking about how to, to make those changes. But anyway, yes, 2-year meeting in a box thing. I do definitely think that we all represent different factions in this town, say. And so I can see that a conversation that I could have with people that I know, with their parents, with their teenagers, and kind of that group, would be a different conversation that, say, you would be having with your family, or you would be having with your friends and your family. And so I'd be willing to try and do one of those out of this meeting, obviously.
Yeah.
I'll just say that I went to the meeting, the comprehensive plan meeting, the public meeting.
Yeah.
And then you came to the Conservation Commission and the commission did a meeting in a box.
Yeah.
But I do have to say that the comprehensive plan meeting, public meeting, the consultant, the team leader, I don't remember her name. That's all right. I think she spoke so well about our need to look at our zoning in terms of, so to your point, in terms of, what does this town wanna be? And the way she said it was graceful yet strong. And I was like, wow, I like this. I was like, that's, to your point again, it was like the first time I really heard someone say, come on, open space, big lots, yes, it's really nice agricultural fields, but, right? And I thought, okay, we really do need to think about this. And I do know that our planning board has certainly done, cluster zoning and, in zoning that integrates different types of housing. And I also think, what they did with the lower village with respect to mixing up land uses so that you can have multiple types of land uses in one location is also wonderful. So yeah, I was very pleased with it. And so, yeah, I think I would not want to participate in another meeting in a box. But because I think I've said what I was going to say. So for me, it's sort of duplicative, but.
And I apologize for that.
Do not apologize.
Well, I mean,
I think it's very good you're doing this and that you came to our meeting.
I just wanted to add on to what you said, the consultant also, so I said something about, there was a question in the presentation about preserving land versus building.
You asked that question
Yes.
about the value of, yes.
Yeah, so I asked if, my recollection from years ago was that if we develop, and it turns out single-family homes on an 1.5 acre lot, that is a revenue negative for the town. And, but what she brought up, our consultant, was that in fact, if we have denser development, it's revenue positive. It can be revenue positive, and I think that just,
That's a very important point.
it's really important because when we thoughtfully develop, it can help us out. And I think, the planning board has done a lot of great groundwork with things like planned conservation districts and I personally am a proponent of maybe looking at having an as of right duplex, so that a single lot could have a duplex built instead of a single family home. I mean, that would be a start. There happen to have been a couple of large homes built near me recently, and I just thought, wow, another possibility could have been that this could have been a little bit denser. It might have had more or less the same footprint and impact on the neighborhood, but it would have had a different outcome in terms of both revenues to the town possibly and also options for housing for different kinds of people. So, JT, you said anything?
I had took a look at it. I wasn't able to attend the meeting, but I did take a look. And what it reminded me of when I sat on the Stow Housing Authority Board, and the goals that we had looked at the time, and also when we looked at the villages of Stow, and the proposal that had been presented, which I was in favor, was a mixed use, where in the front of it there was supposed to be some commercial and things of that nature, which I think really would have benefited the town at that time. So I think revisiting it now and from what you said, Ingeborg, the message that was being brought in. I think it's finally coming to fruition, and I think it's about damn time.
Hector, yeah. Hector?
If any of you are so willing to hold a meeting in a box with your friends and neighbors and things, I also wanted to emphasize that we're looking for input, definitely looking for input from Stow residents, but not just adults, the teens, what ideas might they have, and also people that work or even drive through Stow. They don't necessarily have to live here, but we want input from all the people that are affiliated with our town, or might even be interested in moving in our town.
Right.
Things like that. So anybody else that you have that is familiar with Stow or anything like that, feel free to include them in the meeting in a box.
So my sense of the group this evening is that we don't have the kind of energy that would make this a marvelous exercise of fun and games.
Well, when you raised it at the Concom meeting and everyone started, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna fall asleep. But then it got really interesting.
It did.
It did.
Yeah.
So, but at first I was like, oh, but anyway. Anyway, yeah. So I think you're reading the room very well.
Yes.
Rather astutely.
Very astutely.
Alright.
Well, great, thank you for, is there anything else that anybody wants to know about what the committee is doing, or,
Just once again, is there like a
Exactly.
deadline on these meetings in the box?
so the public outreach part of the, process goes through the end of April.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
And so that's kind of why I wanted it on the agenda tonight, was
Yeah.
so that we could get thinking about it. And if you're, I'm gonna do one with some people on Thursday. Somebody in my neighborhood is gonna host, and we're just gonna have a few people over. And I'm hoping to do another, I'm thinking, can I go engage the younger people that I know here in Stow and see if I can either just get them started, or maybe just, do something really informal even. I think doing one or two activities on the list is better than not doing any. So, that's what we did with the Concom the other night.
That's exactly right.
But even having conversations about the trajectory of the town in the context of these exercises and in the context of this plan is, useful for me, and also just saying, survey, crowd map, post, and take it.
Cool.
Great. Thank you.
Alright.
Let's move on. Let's approve the minutes. Or any comments or
No.
complaints about Joyce's fabulous minutes?
There was a lot and she got a lot.
I'm really grateful
There was a
for
lot.
the work on the minutes.
Alright. You ready for motion? Madam Chair, I move to accept the meeting minutes of the March 12th, 2024 meeting as drafted.
Second.
All in favor? Hector?
Aye.
Megan?
Aye.
JT?
Aye.
Ingeborg?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. That's unanimous. Any thoughts or comments on correspondence?
Hey Hector, should we talk about Verizon?
Oh my god.
Oh, and
I was
Xfinity.
gonna say that.
Xfinity.
And Xfinity, don't
They're
forget
losing
them.
something too.
Hey, I have a quick thing. I'm just really excited that the planning board has moved, thank you to the chair, but the whole planning board for moving your meetings to the alternate nights so that we have the opportunity to, talk to each other as necessary or visit. And getting the work plan from the planning board, I just found kind of inspiring.
Yeah.
Just to look at it and
Yeah, that was incredible.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew these were hardworking folks, but wow. But it's also just really useful to me to have that all there in front of me, because it's work that happens over a long period of time, and you know, some of the stuff we do here is kind of quick, but theirs is lot of long planning and conversations, and I'm both grateful for that, but I also think, you know, it's helpful for us to know.
Yeah.
Okay, one last motion?
Madam Chair, I move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Hector? Megan?
Aye.
Ingeborg?
Aye.
JT?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Hasta luego.
Thank you all.
Bye.